my mother did exactly the right thing. I think it's absolutely extraordinary. And I can't remember anybody except the Queen bee.
Princess Anne has finally addressed the growing debate surrounding Camilla, and the reaction is raising fresh questions.
Two extraordinary women, born 3 years apart. One, a commoner, destined against all odds to become queen. The other was, for 7 years, second in line to the throne. It's the ultimate tale of the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object.
Was this a carefully measured warning, an honest assessment, or simply another moment being interpreted beyond its intent? Royal watchers remain divided, while headlines continue fueling speculation about deepening tensions behind palace doors. What does Anne really believe about Camilla's place within the monarchy? So, what do you think? Did Anne's remarks reveal genuine concern or fuel unnecessary controversy?
Not that much. And I think it says a lot for the...
Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more royal updates. Silence finally sparks royal questions. For decades, Princess Anne built a reputation as one of the royal family's most reserved and dependable figures, carefully avoiding public drama while allowing her actions to speak louder than her words. That is precisely why renewed attention surrounding her recent remarks about Queen Camilla has generated such intense discussion among royal observers. Anne has rarely commented on family relationships in public, making even her most measured statements worthy of close examination. What might have sounded ordinary coming from another royal suddenly carried much greater significance because it came from someone known for choosing silence over headlines. Almost immediately, newspapers, television commentators, and royal experts began debating whether Anne had intentionally revealed deeper concerns or whether her words were being interpreted far beyond their original meaning. The uncertainty itself quickly became part of the story. Those who have followed the monarchy for years understand why Anne's voice commands unusual respect. Throughout her public life, she has earned a reputation for placing duty above personal publicity, often carrying out hundreds of official engagements each year without seeking attention. Unlike many members of the royal family, she rarely gives interviews discussing private matters, and she has consistently avoided becoming involved in public disputes. That long history makes any apparent shift in tone feel especially noteworthy. Even a brief observation from Anne can trigger widespread speculation because it breaks a pattern established over decades of disciplined restraint. At the same time, Queen Camilla continues to occupy one of the most closely watched positions within the monarchy. Since becoming queen, she has gradually taken on greater responsibilities while continuing to face public scrutiny, shaped by decades of royal history. Every appearance, speech, and decision attracts analysis, particularly whenever it relates to the legacy of Queen Elizabeth II or the future direction of the institution. Against that backdrop, Anne's reported comments arrived at a moment when many people were already debating how the monarchy was changing under King Charles III. Not everyone interpreted the situation the same way. Some believed Anne's words reflected genuine concern about preserving long-standing royal traditions, while others argued that the media had magnified an otherwise routine comment into evidence of personal conflict. Without a direct accusation or dramatic confrontation, the discussion became less about what Anne actually said and more about what listeners believed she meant. That difference opened the door to competing interpretations, each shaped by individual views of the royal family and its future. Whether Anne intended to send a message or simply expressed an honest opinion, one thing became increasingly difficult to ignore. Her carefully chosen words had reignited questions that had remained largely unspoken, setting the stage for an even deeper examination of her relationship with Camilla and the changing balance within the modern monarchy. But what finally shifted, after years of quiet distance? Did one overlooked royal moment change everything, or was a hidden decision already reshaping their relationship? And why are insiders now connecting it to today's stunning developments? Let's find out. Decades shaped today's royal divide. The renewed attention surrounding Princess Anne's comments did not emerge from a single moment. Instead, many royal observers viewed it as the latest chapter in a relationship shaped by years of quiet differences, rather than open disagreement. Although Anne and Queen Camilla have appeared together at official engagements with professionalism, their public images have long reflected different approaches to royal life. That contrast has encouraged continuing discussion whenever either woman becomes the focus of major headlines. For many people following the monarchy, understanding the present requires looking carefully at the past. Princess Anne has spent most of her life building a reputation based on discipline, consistency, and an unwavering commitment to duty. She rarely seeks publicity and has often been praised for carrying out hundreds of engagements without attracting unnecessary attention. Her preference has always been to place service before personal recognition, earning respect across generations. That reputation has made her one of the most trusted members of the royal family, particularly during periods of change and uncertainty. Camilla's journey into the royal family followed a very different path. Her relationship with King Charles developed over many years and remained the subject of intense public attention, especially during the years surrounding the marriage of Charles and Diana. Following Diana's death, Camilla gradually assumed a more visible role, working to gain public acceptance through charitable work and official responsibilities. Over time, she became queen, but public opinion continued to evolve as many people reassessed her place within the monarchy. Throughout those years, Anne largely avoided commenting on personal matters, choosing instead to focus on her own responsibilities. That silence became one of her defining characteristics. Because she rarely discussed family relationships publicly, many observers began interpreting her restraint as meaningful in itself. Whenever she appeared alongside Camilla, people searched for subtle signs of warmth, distance, or disagreement, even though no clear evidence supported many of those conclusions. Some commentators believe the differences between the two women have always been less about personal feelings and more about contrasting styles. Anne is frequently associated with tradition, practicality, and quiet service, while Camilla represents a monarchy adapting to changing public expectations. Others argue that such comparisons oversimplify a far more complex reality, pointing out that both women have consistently carried out official duties despite constant scrutiny. Whatever the complete truth may be, the history between Anne and Camilla has become impossible to separate from current events. Their different paths, public reputations, and carefully measured appearances have created an atmosphere where even small developments invite larger questions. As attention continues to grow, the latest discussion appears less like an isolated incident and more like the continuation of a story that has unfolded slowly over many years. If one carefully chosen remark sparked this much attention, what could Anne have quietly understood? Why did longtime royal observers suddenly revisit forgotten moments? And when another hidden detail emerged, was it merely coincidence or something far more revealing? Keep watching. Careful words changed royal perceptions. A single carefully delivered remark was all it took to shift the conversation surrounding Queen Camilla in an unexpected direction. Princess Anne did not deliver a dramatic speech or launch a public criticism. Instead, attention focused on the measured way she expressed herself, prompting royal commentators and audiences alike to examine every word with unusual intensity. Because Anne has spent decades avoiding personal controversy, many believed her comments deserved closer attention than ordinary royal observations. Almost overnight, discussion moved away from routine coverage of royal engagements and toward a wider debate about what Anne's remarks might truly reveal. The response from the media was immediate. Newspapers, television panels, and royal analysts began comparing Anne's carefully chosen language with her long history of public restraint. Some suggested that she had deliberately hinted at deeper concerns regarding Camilla's position within the royal family. Others insisted that her comments had been taken out of context and expanded into a story far larger than she ever intended. Without any official clarification, competing interpretations spread quickly, allowing speculation to grow alongside established facts. Part of the fascination came from the unique way the monarchy communicates. Senior royals rarely speak directly about private relationships, making even the smallest public statement open to careful interpretation. A brief pause, a carefully selected phrase, or a subtle change in emphasis can become the subject of endless analysis. That long-standing tradition explains why Anne's words attracted extraordinary attention despite their restrained nature. In royal circles, silence often carries meaning, but so can carefully measured speech. Buckingham Palace did not issue any statement addressing the growing discussion, maintaining its familiar approach of refusing to comment on personal speculation. That official silence created even more space for public debate. Supporters of Camilla argued that the media had transformed an ordinary remark into unnecessary controversy, while others believed Anne had intentionally chosen her words to encourage reflection without creating open conflict. Neither interpretation could be confirmed, yet both gained traction as commentators searched for hidden significance. As the debate intensified, social media amplified every opinion, allowing countless theories to circulate within hours. Some viewers praised Anne for her honesty and consistency, believing she had quietly defended traditional royal values. Others warned against reading too much into a few carefully spoken sentences, arguing that assumptions often replace evidence whenever the royal family is involved. The absence of certainty only made the story compelling. Whether Anne's remarks represented quiet concern, simple observation, or something entirely different, they undeniably changed the public conversation surrounding Camilla. What began as a seemingly modest moment evolved into renewed scrutiny of relationships, responsibilities, and perceptions inside the monarchy, suggesting that even the calmest voice can reshape an ongoing royal narrative without ever raising its volume. As tensions deepen, Charles faces an impossible choice. Can he protect Camilla without distancing Anne? What hidden pressures are shaping every royal decision? And when private loyalties collide with the crown, who will quietly pay the highest price next before everything changes? Crown caught between two loyalties. As public discussion surrounding Princess Anne's remarks continued to grow, attention gradually shifted toward another central figure in the story. King Charles II suddenly found himself at the center of competing expectations, with every decision carrying consequences far beyond one family conversation. Although no public dispute had unfolded between his sister and Queen Camilla, growing speculation placed the king in a difficult position. Observers questioned how he could support his wife while also respecting the sister who had stood beside him through decades of royal service. The challenge was no longer simply about public perception. It had become a question of balance within the monarchy itself. King Charles and Princess Anne share one of the longest relationships within the royal family. Growing up together under Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, they experienced the same demanding royal upbringing and witnessed many of the institution's greatest moments of change. Anne earned a reputation for reliability and straightforwardness, qualities Charles has often appreciated throughout their lives. Their shared experiences created a bond built on duty, even when their personalities differed. That history makes any suggestion of disagreement especially significant to those who closely follow the monarchy. At the same time, Queen Camilla now carries responsibilities that extend well beyond her personal relationship with the king. Since becoming queen, she has represented the crown at official engagements, supported charitable causes, and worked alongside Charles during an important period of transition. Her public role requires stability and confidence, particularly as the monarchy adapts to changing expectations. Any renewed debate surrounding her position naturally attracts widespread attention because it touches both the institution and the individuals serving it. Royal commentators increasingly noted that Charles faced an unusually delicate situation. If he appeared to dismiss Anne's perspective, some believed it could undermine the respect she has earned through decades of public service. If he appeared overly protective of Camilla, others feared it might deepen speculation that private relationships were influencing public responsibilities. Yet many analysts argued that this presented a false choice, pointing out that family members can hold different opinions without creating lasting divisions. The absence of direct public disagreement left room for interpretation rather than certainty. Buckingham Palace maintained its familiar silence, offering no response to the growing commentary. That decision reflected the monarchy's long-standing preference for avoiding public discussion of private family matters. However, the lack of clarification encouraged further debate, allowing observers to draw their own conclusions about what was happening behind palace walls. Whether these differing perspectives represent genuine tension or simply the natural complexity of a modern royal family remains uncertain. What is increasingly clear, however, is that the conversation has expanded far beyond Anne and Camilla alone. It now raises broader questions about leadership, loyalty, and how the monarchy preserves unity while adapting to an ever-changing public landscape. William's quiet resolve may hide far more than anyone realizes. Why does Anne's guidance suddenly matter so much? What unseen decision could reshape the monarchy's future? And whose next move will reveal the truth when everything finally comes into focus? Next, everyone watching, stay glued. William's quiet role gains importance. As the discussion surrounding Princess Anne and Queen Camilla continued to grow, attention gradually expanded to another key figure whose future role made every development more significant. Prince William did not publicly enter the debate, yet royal observers increasingly wondered how he viewed the changing dynamics within the family. As the heir to the throne, his actions and priorities have often been seen as signals of the monarchy's future direction, while he remained focused on official duties. The growing conversation naturally led many to consider whether Anne's perspective reflected values that William had also emphasized throughout his public life. Since the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, William has repeatedly spoken about the importance of continuity, public service, and preserving the principles that guided his grandmother throughout her reign. His speeches and charitable work have consistently highlighted stability, responsibility, and long-term commitment rather than dramatic change. Those priorities closely resemble the qualities that have defined Princess Anne's decades of royal service. Although they belong to different generations, both have earned reputations for placing duty ahead of personal attention, creating a connection that many commentators have found increasingly meaningful. Princess Anne has long been regarded as one of the monarchy's most experienced figures. Her knowledge of royal tradition, combined with years of practical service, has made her an important source of continuity during periods of transition. While there is no public evidence that she formally advises Prince William on every major issue, her experience and respected position naturally give weight to her example. Many royal experts believe younger members of the family closely observe the standards she has maintained throughout her career. This growing comparison has encouraged wider discussion about the future rather than simply the present. Some observers believe William's approach to leadership reflects many of the same values associated with Anne, particularly the belief that public trust is earned through consistent service rather than public popularity. Others caution against assuming complete agreement between them, noting that every future monarch must balance tradition with the realities of a changing society. Even so, the similarities continue to attract attention whenever questions arise about the direction of the royal family. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla continues fulfilling her responsibilities beside King Charles III, contributing to the institution in her own way, while adapting to a role that has evolved over many years. Her position remains an important part of the monarchy's present, even as conversations increasingly focus on its future. That contrast between continuity and transition has become one of the most compelling aspects of the wider story. Whether Anne's perspective directly influences William or simply echoes values they both share cannot be stated with certainty. Yet the growing interest in their apparent alignment suggests that this conversation is no longer only about Camilla. It has become part of a much broader discussion about the kind of monarchy that future generations may inherit and ultimately shape. Was everything interpreted the wrong way? Were Anne's words protecting a royal legacy rather than criticizing Camilla? If the real Disagreement was never personal at all. What forgotten detail changes everything, and why has it remained hidden until now? Stay tuned. Truth behind Anne's quiet message. As the debate surrounding Princess Anne's remarks continued to dominate royal discussions, an unexpected possibility began to emerge. Perhaps the conversation had never been primarily about Queen Camilla herself. Instead, some royal observers started asking whether Anne's carefully chosen words reflected something much broader, a concern about protecting the values that defined Queen Elizabeth II's reign during a period of historic transition. That subtle shift changed the entire discussion. Rather than focusing on personalities alone, attention turned toward the future identity of the monarchy and the principles that would guide it for generations to come. Princess Anne has spent her entire adult life demonstrating unwavering commitment to royal service. Throughout decades of public duty, she has consistently emphasized responsibility, continuity, and quiet dedication rather than personal recognition. Those qualities closely mirrored the approach taken by Queen Elizabeth II, whose reign became associated with stability, restraint, and a deep sense of constitutional responsibility. Because Anne served alongside her mother for so many years, many commentators believe she understands those traditions better than almost anyone else within the royal family. Viewed from that perspective, Anne's recent remarks take on a different meaning. Instead of being interpreted as criticism directed personally at Camilla, they could be understood as an expression of concern about preserving an institutional culture built over decades. That interpretation does not require hostility or personal disagreement. Rather, it suggests that Anne's greatest priority has always been protecting the standards of public service that she believes have sustained the monarchy through periods of immense change. Even so, public reaction followed a different path. Headlines frequently emphasized conflict because disagreement naturally attracts greater attention than careful discussion about constitutional continuity. Social media accelerated that process, with competing opinions spreading rapidly as audiences debated what Anne truly intended. Some concluded that her words exposed hidden divisions within the royal family, while others argued that the controversy revealed more about public expectations than about Anne's actual message. Without additional public clarification, neither interpretation could be confirmed beyond reasonable doubt. Royal historians have often noted that transitions between reigns bring renewed examination of traditions, priorities, and leadership styles. Every generation must decide how much should remain unchanged and how much should evolve to reflect modern expectations. In that context, differing perspectives do not necessarily signal personal conflict. They may instead reflect sincere efforts to balance continuity with adaptation, ensuring the institution remains relevant without losing its historical foundations. Whether Anne intended to spark this wider debate may never be fully known. Yet the discussion has gradually evolved beyond questions about Camilla alone. It now touches the deeper issue of what legacy Queen Elizabeth II leaves behind, and how future leaders, including King Charles III and Prince William, will preserve that legacy while guiding the monarchy into an uncertain future. The true significance of Anne's remarks may therefore lie not in whom they addressed, but in what they quietly defended. Could Princess Anne's carefully chosen words permanently reshape Queen Camilla's legacy? Has the royal family entered a turning point that few truly recognize? And what unexpected consequence could quietly redefine how history judges them all before the story is finally complete? Stay with us. Iduphones. Legacy shapes tomorrow's royal future. As the conversation surrounding Princess Anne's remarks gradually settled, one question continued to dominate public discussion. What lasting effect would this moment have on Queen Camilla, King Charles III, and the future of the royal family? Although the immediate headlines focused on Anne's carefully chosen words, the broader story had grown into something much larger. It was no longer simply about one comment or one relationship. Instead, it had become a reflection of how the monarchy responds when tradition, public expectations, and changing leadership meet at the same moment. For Queen Camilla, The renewed attention demonstrated that public opinion remains closely connected to the monarchy's history. Years after assuming her role as queen, every appearance and every decision continues to be viewed through the lens of past events. While she has worked to establish her own place within the institution through official duties and charitable work, discussions about her role often extend beyond her present responsibilities. Anne's remarks, whether intended that way or not, encouraged many people to revisit familiar questions about continuity, acceptance, and the evolving identity of the crown. Princess Anne, meanwhile, emerged from the discussion with her long-standing reputation largely unchanged. Throughout her public life, she has consistently been associated with dedication, honesty, and an unwavering commitment to service. Because she rarely comments on personal matters, many people continue to view her words as carrying unusual weight. That credibility explains why a measured observation generated such widespread interest. Whether people agreed with her perceived message or questioned the public reaction, few doubted the sincerity that has defined her decades of royal duty. King Charles III now faces the continuing responsibility of guiding the monarchy through an era of significant transition. His challenge extends beyond balancing individual relationships within the family. He must also preserve public confidence while leading an institution that respects its traditions yet remains capable of adapting to modern expectations. That delicate balance has defined much of his reign and will likely remain one of its greatest tests in the years ahead. The wider significance of this story reaches beyond any single conversation. It highlights how even carefully measured remarks can shape public understanding when they come from respected members of the royal family. In an institution where every gesture, appearance, and statement is examined closely, perception often becomes almost as influential as the words themselves. Whether Princess Anne intended to spark renewed debate may never be fully answered. Yet her comments encouraged millions to think more deeply about leadership, legacy, and the future direction of the monarchy. As one chapter of this discussion draws to a close, another quietly begins, reminding everyone that the royal family's greatest challenges are often not created by dramatic confrontations, but by thoughtful words that continue echoing long after they are spoken. So, what do you think? Did Princess Anne's remarks reveal deeper concerns about Camilla's role? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more royal updates.